From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Response on the debate.
Arnab Goswami on the debate at 9. Presented by Amity University. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group. Century Ply. Samsonite and Panasonic.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There are matters that are serious and so serious that they are far beyond the analysis and ability of some trolling comedians and YouTubers. What do trolling YouTubers and comedians know anyway? Last night I said clearly that Adani is not India, and I stand by that. For to equate the fortunes of one company with that of India is shallow. But we must all keep in mind one thing, that the immediate and greatest beneficiary of a lot of recent events in India, especially last few weeks, and suddenly affecting India and affecting Indians, is one and only China. Think about it. Take a pause to just think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Is the beneficiary China? And then let me elaborate. The pro-China Vadra Congress, and I call them pro-China because they have a signed and secret understanding with China and especially with Xi Jinping. If Adani's collapse leads to loss of investor confidence in India, then who benefits, viewers? China benefits. How does China benefit? Well, simple. Because COVID and immediately post-COVID, Indian markets, Indian economy is growing far faster than China. If you look at a benchmarking there, you will find that the Nifty and the Sensex have been far outperforming the Hang Seng and the Shanghai markets and the best performing markets in Asia. Which means in Asia, India is number one, China is number two. China is not used to being number two, but China is now consistently in all growth parameters always at number two. So China is getting desperate. It's not used to this situation for more than 30 years. China is desperate to stop India, viewers. Now, the Adani enterprises have been signed on as the executor of massive projects. I alluded yesterday to them in Sri Lanka, India, Israel, around the world, looking at Azerbaijan, areas close to China, which China considers in its sphere of influence, in infrastructure projects where the direct competitor is China. Direct competitor is China. So, if China uses the pro-China Congress to prolong the Adani saga, and this prolonging leads to a global lack of confidence in India, then who benefits? China benefits. Who loses? India loses. Now, after signing the secret deal with China, the pro-China Congress, when in power, allowed, interestingly, all our neighbors, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Maldives, to be taken over by Chinese conglomerates, Chinese business and Chinese debt. Manmohan Singh didn't even try to compete. He just gave up there and he watched as China took over all the areas near our borders. Exact opposite of what Narendra Modi is doing now. Also then look at the question of timing. Post-COVID right now, China's had a terrible time. There's been total mismanagement. And Xi Jinping knows one thing, that if the Indian economy does well, if Indian markets do well, then what's the point of opening the Chinese borders? The only benefit will be if at the same time the Indian economy, Indian markets go down. Xi Jinping finds Narendra Modi to be too tough a competitor. The Modi government is giving China a very hard time globally. And China knows that India under Modi is likely to continue to outperform them for a very long time. So how does China recover if India is strong? China cannot recover as India is strong. The only way to recover for China is to bring down, through a series of circumstances, global confidence in China. Now look here, viewers, I'm not saying that Adani is all shining clean. No, I don't think so. I think there's the Adani mess. It's my hashtag tonight, Adani mess. There seems to be a mess there. But the Adani mess is one thing. We must connect the dots. Along with the BBC documentary, and as we found out now, Mahesh Jetmalani revealed, spectators talking about it in the UK, It's a point of discussion right now. Sorry. How the BBC has received millions in funding from China, directly from China, Chinese connected Chinese state-supported deep state companies. When all this money is going to the BBC, and the BBC, who does it target? It targets India, it targets Narendra Modi. Who does the lobby immediately begin to work for? Who do the pro-China Congress start working for? They start working for the BBC. Viewers, along with this constant support to the Khalistanis, who with their increased funding from China have recently increased attacks in the last few weeks on people of Indian origin in Canada and Australia. So China is working very actively to upset the global situation for India. This is a combination of factors. We all need to understand these factors and stop looking at events in isolation. If you look at events in isolation, you will look at it in terms of your immediate political benefit, your immediate political loss, or you'll go by what some unresearched YouTuber is telling you. What am I calling for tonight? I'm simply calling for a little bit of reason tonight. Viewers across the country, please tonight, I want you to take 2 steps back. For us, nation has to be paramount. I call for a little bit of reason tonight. I call for you to make up your mind after understanding and studying a simple fact of how China, and not just the pro-China Congress, how China stands to benefit if we Indians take this out of control, out of political spite. You see, viewers, the bottom line is this. Political spite, internet trolling, looking at an event for a political opportunity is one thing. It has its place. But that is for YouTubers. This is far more serious. These are not the kind of things that you should be trusting YouTubers and comedians to set the narrative on. Viewers, we need to do a proper analysis of the China angle, so let's debate. That's debate number 2 tonight. I'm beginning debate number 1 on the Adani mess. No 2 views about it, the big mess. Mr. Gautam Adani has a lot to answer for. And debate number 2 is on the, and by the way, Ryan Karanjewala, Gautam Adani's lawyer, is joining me tonight, a couple of minutes. I'll talk to him about the Adani mess. Debate number 2 tonight, from the Hindenburg Report to a motivated BBC documentary. Is there a China angle in all this? I think all reasonable, well-informed Indians should be thinking about that. That's debate 2. And here are the headlines this Friday evening on the debate tonight. Markets are volatile, investors are jittery, but the government calls the Adani mess simply a storm in a teacup. After 6 days of free fall, some Adani Group stocks begin to bounce back. Bank after bank disclosed their exposure. Reserve Bank of India is working overtime to allay fears, but the opposition is adamant in Parliament to continue this. And the Republic research team is looking at who benefits the most from the crisis. Can the China angle be completely ruled out? We are looking at that at 10 p.m. tonight.
BBC is completely financially interlocked with China, with the Chinese state.
Taking on China, taking on BBC. Mahesh Jethmalani stepping up his attack. Consecutive day says the BBC and the China are financially interlocked. And there has been a big unexpected shake-up in the telecom sector. Government converts equity into debt to get a 35% stake in Vodafone India. 16,000 crore rupee debt turned into equity, which means the government becomes a big player in telecom. And ladies and gentlemen, there is no denying that there has been mayhem in the markets for the last 6 days over this Adani mess. Now, some Adani Group stocks are picking up, but is it enough? Rating agencies are giving mixed signals. How will it impact? Banks say the exposure is minuscule, but what does it mean in the long run? There are still many unanswered questions. Here are today's updates, and then we are going to have a sharp debate on the Adani mess.
On Dalal Street, Adani Group stocks saw partial reprieve from the free fall, with 3 companies back in the green.
4 कंपनियों में मैंने इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है, जैसे अडानी एंटरप्राइज में इन्वेस्टमेंट किया हुआ है, अडानी पावर में किया है, अडानी विल्मर में किया है और अडानी ग्रीन में भी किया हुआ है। और तो वो सारे शेयर्स जब मैंने निवेश किए थे उसके भाव से आधे से भी आधे हो गए हैं। अभी आज की स्थिति में तो मैं काफ़ी नुकसान में हूँ और मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि सेबी और गवर्नमेंट इसके ऊपर देखें और छोटे निवेशों का हित जो है उसको ध्यान में रख के कोई उचित कदम ले।
Rating agencies have given mixed signals.
holding up above the 17,300, 500 range every day that there's been panic in the stocks. The index has fallen but recovered from there, and even today it's holding out positive. So we're trying to absorb it. The good news is that we've seen a correction in our markets compared to the rest of the world over the last year. So most stocks are down to levels where we would think they're fairly valued. But probably the Adani Group was the only one which was still looking expensive in terms of valuation. So that's, I think, what is getting corrected over here.
The stake of LIC and the SBI in the Adani Group has caused concerns.
कि हम क्यों चिंतित हैं, हम ये बार बार मुद्दा क्यों उठा रहे हैं, हमारे नेता प्रतिपक्ष क्यों उठा रहे हैं, हमारी राजनीतिक पार्टियां क्यों उठा रहे हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ 78,000 करोड़ रुपया LIC का अडानी में इन्वेस्ट किया गया है. SBI म्यूचुअल फंड है, पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक है, पेंशन फंड है, करोड़ों रुपया मध्य वर्ग के लोगों का, करोड़ों भारतवासियों का की बचत इस कंपनियों में लगे हुए हैं जिसका मार्केट वैल्यू घटा है.
Lead public investors like the SBI, LIC and Bank of Baroda have come clean on their positions in the Adani Group stocks, assuring the larger investor community that their exposure to the beleaguered group are well within the legally defined limits. So for example, in the case of SBI, half of what is allowed. In the case of BOB, 1/4 of what is legally allowed to invest in one single group. On top of it, we have RBI coming out with a statement saying that India's banking sector is absolutely healthy and resilient and that there are no cause for concerns.
Some have even moved court against Hindenburg by filing a PIL.
कुछ विषयों पर माननीय अध्यक्ष जी को स्थगन प्रस्ताव की सूचना प्राप्त हुई है.
But the Adani mess is far from over. There is a roar in parliament. The opposition is gearing up to make it the biggest issue.
अडानी की कंपनी में लाखों करोड़ रुपए विदेशों से फर्जी कंपनियां बना के किसका पैसा लाया गया? भारत के प्रधानमंत्री सवालों के घेरे में है और सवाल का जवाब देने से बच नहीं सकते. इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि इस पे बिल्कुल विलंब नहीं करना चाहिए. पार्लियामेंट में इसके बारे में चर्चा कराइए और जेपीसी या सुप्रीम कोर्ट मॉनिटर्ड टाइम बाउंड इंक्वायरीज पे होनी चाहिए.
The NSE has put 3 Adani stocks under the additional surveillance measure. And it is time to address the unanswered questions in the Adani mess. Let's debate.
Managing partner and founder of Karanjawala and Company, which is representing the Adani group of companies, and therefore Gautam Adani's legal advisor Ryan Karanjawala, who is with me this evening. Mr. Karanjawala, good evening. Am I hearing me clearly now?
Yes, I am.
You see,
but Arnab,
yes, sir.
Let me just start with one clarification. Why Adani, the Adani group is a client of mine, but I'm not representing them in this particular matter. Nor have I been advising them on this.
No.
So,
Mr. Karanjawala, the litigation hasn't even started, and when it does, we shall see. I take it, but you cannot discount the fact that they are your client and you are their advisor.
Yes. For the last 9 odd years, they've been retained clients of ours.
Yeah, so they are clients of yours, and therefore I'm really surprised that Gautam Adani has not called you and told you to sue Hindenburg.
Well,
I mean, why threaten to do something which you can't follow up with?
So the answer is simple. Gautam Adani has one advantage over most other industrialists, which is that his Samdhi happens to own one of India's largest litigating firms, that's Cyril Amarchand Shroff. So everything that will be done will be calibrated by them, and I'm sure that they will react at the right time. Now, of course, what happens is this. When you're suddenly faced, supposing someone comes and puts your house on fire, then the first thing that you do is to try and quell the fire. Then you go after the people who have put the house on fire. So you're looking at early days. I'm sure there will be a response in the fullness of time.
But optics are big and very important, Mr. Karanjawala. Adani, Hindenburg said on 26 January, if you have the guts, fight us in a US court. Right? And it's been a long time since then. Even for optics, it seems the Adani group is on the defensive.
So the answer is that when you're looking at optics, you see a legal case is not fought only for the purpose of optics, so that it sounds good and looks good and you can tell people, look, I filed a case. American jurisdiction has certain drawbacks. For example, I'm given to understand that in another case where a Chinese company tried to sue Hindenburg, ultimately Hindenburg got away by the court saying, but this is just his public opinion and he's entitled to them. So obviously, and at the moment, I think the Adani Group's major concern is stakeholder value. So I think what they're really doing is concentrating on keeping that afloat.
Is that
keeping that robust?
But the cynics will say that, you see, Hindenburg has challenged the Adani Group in US court, saying that the moment you sue us, we have a long list of documents that we will demand in the legal recovery process. The legal discovery process. So if you don't sue them, then the feeling will be that the Adani Group is afraid of exposure of internal documents, which will become part of any litigation in American courts. And then all the dirty linen will be out in public.
Well, I don't really have an answer to that since I'm not advising on this. But I'm sure that all this is being looked at.
But is he aggressive? I mean, Ryan Karanjawala, can I request you? I was told that you used to be a boxer in college. Am I right? So I don't know. I heard the rumor.
I used to be a debater. I was never a boxer.
I don't know. Someone told me you're a boxer. Well, if you're a debater, then I also heard that you were an aggressive debater. But then I don't see the aggression today. Today I see you so measured, so cool. Where's the aggression? Ryan Karanjawala, you're Gautam Adani's friend. You've been his legal advisor in a way. You know, you've been a retail client of yours. And today there's no aggression. Why is there no aggression? The whole world is going after the Adani Group. Where's the aggression? Is there something wrong behind the scenes?
I'll answer that question. First, if you want my personal view, the response should always be measured. The response should never be foolishly aggressive. You should not take on a case unless you're sure of quick and easy success. And certainly these are things that are to be calibrated. It's only a sort of you may come across as aggressive and advise clients to rush to court where they should not, but that's really not good advice. So especially in a matter as delicate as this one, I think the firm that is advising him is giving him the correct advice. It's doing it in a calibrated way.
Well, we'll wait for the fight when it unfolds. I have this feeling, Mr. Ryan Karanjawala, that we are a little away from a real solid fight, and maybe Adani Group and others who've been hurt are watching a lot of things and maybe they'll hit back later.
I think Adani, what is Adani's number one priority? His number one and two priorities are, one, clearing his name. That may not necessarily be in a fight with Hindenburg. Two, making sure that his shareholders regain confidence in him, making sure that the stock market regains confidence in him. Fortunately for him, his businesses are largely insulated from the share market because he deals in ports, he deals in airports, he deals in cement, he deals in power. And
but Ambuja Cement also fell down quite a bit that day.
Yes, but it's not the stock that falls. So what you have to worry about is if people stop buying your cement. You have to worry about if suddenly people stop landing in planes in Adani airports. Your stock will go up and your stock will come down. The question is, if your business is robust, planes are coming in and out of your airports, revenue is being generated, then the bottom line is strong. The fundamentals are strong. The stock market will again adjust to it. This is at least how I look at it. I mean, I don't know how he looks at it. And that's his business
to some extent.
But this is how I would look at it.
No, you're not wrong. That fundamentals are strong. To some extent, you're correct. You know, I've just been saying, Mr. Karanjawala, that at the end of the day, I truly believe that there's a China angle in all this. To the extent that the beneficiary of all this is Chinese stocks, Chinese markets, and fall in consumer confidence, investor confidence in India, market confidence in India benefits China. But thank you very much. You're being a little cagey today, but I totally understand. And Mr. Karanjawala, next time I'll get your boxing gloves on. I'll get someone from Hindenburg, and then we'll have a solid fight to provoke you. But good to see you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Ryan Karanjawala, sharp corporate lawyer, but he's holding himself back that wee bit today, which I understand. Okay, Ghanshyam Tiwari has put his boxing gloves on. He's leaning forward. Look at his body language. I haven't even started. This is opportunity for Ghanshyam Tiwari, Kamru Chaudhary. Look at the smile on Mr. Sridhar Reddy's face. This is my time. Revenge, huh, Mr. Revenge. Time for revenge, Mr. Reddy.
Can I?
Revenge time at all.
Little.
See, we have nothing against any corporate group in the country, Arnab, and we want every business group in this country to flourish, make wealth, create employment, support to the country's economy. We only question the wrongful practices, and we demand a probe and we demand a explanation from the government, because you are allowed means you are encouraged. So Modi's government encouraged Mr. Adani to such an extent that he could aggressively diversify in every sector in this country. And most of the public sectors today are given to him. Okay, whatever may be the So we are worried about the investors' sentiment. We are worried about the economy that is linked to his business empire. So we are worried about the corporate practices that were a doubt, and we are worried about the calm and the defensive atmosphere from the regulators. We are not actually here to say that,
so you're trying to say that India, Indian business, Indian markets, Indian equities, Indian stock, Indian debt, governance of debt practices, corporate ethics of Indian companies, Indian infrastructure companies, Indian markets, nothing can be trusted. You're equally trying to say that everything is good on the Hang Seng, in the Shanghai Index, infrastructure companies in China, great, Jinping is good, India is the problem. India and the Modi is the problem. That's your argument. That's what you're saying.
No, absolutely not.
No, that's what you're saying.
Anna, 1 minute.
No, I'm very smart. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely not.
No,
the moment you question something, you attribute it to India. Today I have just seen
I don't.
When there was a dispute between Bangladesh, Bangladesh government and Adani Group, the country's spokesperson clearly said it is between a sovereign government and a corporate. We don't get into it. But when the issue comes to Adani, when somebody wants to, somebody questioned, when opposition questioned for a debate, and again you bring in India. This is double standards. I am very clearly saying neither BRS and I don't think any opposition party
you are
Adani Group or some group.
No.
When Adani, Arnab, always with BJP or others are worried about opposition unity.
I want to tell you, Mr. Reddy, Satya wants to come in and Ashish wants to come in, Ghanshyam wants to come in. I'll say one thing. If you want to scrutinize Adani in detail, be my guest and I will help you in it. I will question their debt. I will question LIC's exposure. I will question questionable dealings. I will question the Elara group. I will question why Joe Johnson was a director in the Elara group and why he has quit. I will question SBI's exposure. I will question public money at stake. But if you're building a whole narrative that everything under the Modi regime in India is rotten and Adani is a reflection of the rotten core of Indian business, Indian markets, Indian equity, then I will fight you. Then I will fight you.
I haven't generalized.
Yeah, Satya wants to respond to you. But you're not said, but you're trying to say that. And that's why I will have to fight you.
Mr. Reddy should understand. Arnab, Mr. Reddy should understand. There are regulations governing in the country which are governing the companies. There is a Companies Act, Clause 49 requirement of the Security Exchange Board of India. There is a related party transaction disclosure that is happening as part of the financial statement. The subsidiary lists are provided in the financial statement. It is attested by the chartered accountants, and it is also there is also provision for the regulators to investigate. Mr. Reddy should understand.
Mature discussion.
Mr. Reddy should understand these regulations and understand what kind of a corporate
I think we are talking about basics. We need a more mature and broader discussion.
Then it was an attack. Mr. Reddy, you are a politician, and I hope you should listen to the regulations that are there in the country. So considering who has to probe into the issue? It is a SEBI which has to probe into the issue. What should the government do? LIC is an independent organization.
No, but why did LIC? One second. On that LIC point, I get very worked up because we all have LIC policies. Now the question here is, why Ghanshyam doesn't have LIC policies? He doesn't need insurance. People like me, we need insurance. Now the question is, I will still ask, why did LIC take a risky bet with 5.9 million investors? Simple question. It has 5.9 million investors. Why did they take risky bets?
Arnab,
and 1 minute, sir, allow me to complete. I want to sort out this LIC issue. A lot of my viewers have LIC policies. I have LIC policies. Sorry, I don't want to be just doing an ad for LIC, but here's the fact. Did LIC take a risky exposure in Adani? Simple question.
If you follow the parliament, which you would have definitely.
Ghanshyam is responding. His bandwidth is back. Yeah. Yes, Ghanshyam. Ghanshyam is on. I see.
Follow the parliament.
I see. Vineet put his hand up. Yeah, Vineet. Yeah. Yeah, Ghanshyam.
That a man flew with the Prime Minister when he was going to take oath. His wealth was 47,000 crores. And this man's wealth became 12 lakh crores in few years. And out of that, 8 lakh crore of that group has been wiped off. Now, if I look at Republic website, your own website, Arnab, here are the questions that you put out. Gautam Adani's brother, Rajesh Adani, his interrogation by accusation by DRI, his brother-in-law, Samir Vora. These are your first 5 questions that Republic website puts on this on the basis of Hindenburg research. So it is absolutely clear that there is an element of fraud that has gone unanswered. Now, to your question, if this element of fraud becomes the scale it is, then this will be a scam which is bigger than 2G and CWG scam. And I know your fiercely fiery response to 2G, CWG accusations and scam. I was surprised at how did the angry young man Amitabh Bachchan became a romantic hero when you were interviewing Mr. Adani's lawyer. I expected this scam, 30 crore LIC policy holders, it just becomes a scam based on what you put out on your website, based on the questions that remain unanswered, based on the first family, forget the first citizen of the country in that way, political citizen, Mr. Modi, the first family of Adani Group. Every important person is questioned in that report.
The way to phrase this question is this. The way to phrase this question is this. The way to phrase
the nation wants an answer, and you are the person who said the nation wants an answer. Where is that?
I didn't say, listen
surprised.
to me. Listen to me, please. I didn't say the nation wants an answer. My line is the nation wants to know. And currently, my previous employers have taken me to court for using that line. You understand that? And I'm fighting them to the T. Okay? So please be clear about it. I'm a fighter. As far as the angry and young thing is concerned, I'm angrier. And by the way, unlike you, I'm younger. Now the question being this. And here's the question I want Vineet to answer. Vineet and Samit. Basic economics. LIC's stake in Adani. Investment. 36,000 crores in the Adani group.
4.1%.
Yeah, no. It's not the 4.1% which is important, Kamru. That is equal to 70% of the central government's disinvestment target. I repeat, the shocking thing is LIC's investments in Adani may be 0.975% of its total assets under management at book value. But it is 70% of the government's disinvestment targets, which means if you convert that into a t-shirt slogan, LIC loves Adani. Why does LIC love Adani? I can understand LIC is infatuated with Adani, but this is some kind of deep love. It's a deep and abiding love. It's not transitory, it's not a flirtation. LIC truly loves Adani. Is there any economic explanation you find for that, Vineet and Sumit, either of you?
Yeah. So, we were when we started our coverage on Adani, we were actually very curious about how Adani would shape up. So we were not bullish on Adani when we started coverage. But when we met them, we understood the business. We realized that there is substantial value out here. And over a period of time, when we have inspected their businesses, we have studied their fundamentals, we believe that there is substantial value in Adani, even at the FPO price that was going to come up. So I would just like to throw some numbers at you.
Sure.
Currently his EBITDA is about 50,000 crores. He's going to double EBITDA in the next 2 years to about 102 lakh crore. Okay, the net worth of the company is about 158 lakh crore. And, if you see that the value of the debt, it's about 207 lakh crore at net debt. And if you just, and all the assets that I quoted you, they are at cost. So, and these have been created
I have a
over
simple
30 years.
question to you, Vineet. Vineet, may I ask you a simple question?
Yes.
When you come and confidently tell me that you expect the EBITDA to be doubled in 2 years,
Yeah.
is this Adani's own projection? And if it is Adani's own projection, why are you taking it at face value?
No, we have gone and inspected all the businesses.
Sure, but it's your assessment of it. My second question to you is, one minute, Vineet. Yeah, okay, Kamru, what are you saying?
No, he suggested all the data, but he skipped the very important question of valuation, that is the PE. The PE of Adani Enterprises is 148, the highest anywhere in the world right now. Normal companies have PE multiples of around 10 to 15, 20, something like that.
Sumit's there?
Yeah, I will answer that.
But he lost it.
Okay.
So this is a case of clear overvaluation.
Ashish, no, overvaluation and all is one thing, but I didn't get an answer to my essential question. Can you hear me, Vineet? Is the line okay with you?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Vineet?
Yes, absolutely.
And Sumit, can you hear me, Sumit? Sumit can't hear me. Can you unmute yourself, Sumit?
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're fully audible now. And I'm just asking you this, and Ashish also, who's been a banker with SBI Mutual in the past. Ashish, I simply want to know how come Adani accounts for 63.9% of all of LIC's equity holding. You see, these business channels are doing a disservice by not asking these questions. Ashish, isn't this incredible what LIC has done? Ashish, can I have Ashish back on the screen?
It is. So,
Ashish, please. On the left, please, yeah, Ashish, okay. Because of bad bandwidth going on with Vineet. Thank you very much. Yeah, go on. 2 versus 2 on both sides. Thank you.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. So, indeed, the gentleman raised the issue about valuations. And yes, the valuations have been on the higher side. But at the end of the day, I would not go and question that part about any investment decision taken by any institution, and that too of the caliber of.
Why not?
Here.
Why should we not? I'll tell you, LIC is under government control. No, Ashish, my question is, Ashish, if I may.
I will answer that.
Ashish, total holdings of LIC equity is 56,000 crore. Okay. Total holding in Adani Group in equity and debt is 36,000 crore. Which means about 64% of all LIC's equity holding is in Adani Group. Why?
Hello?
Why, Ashish?
Hello? At the end of the day,
not only that, Arnab, the cash flows of Adani Group as on December
Can I get Ashish to reply?
Crores.
It was a very technical question.
The cash flow of Adani Group is 44 crores.
1 minute.
And the basic question that you have raised.
Can I have the
next
frame fixed for Ashish?
How can you question over here an investment decision taken by an institution like LIC?
Why can you not?
So at this rate,
why can you not?
Going to start question.
No. Why?
At the end of the day, it is the internal investment committee which has done adequate research. And so, are we going to now question each and every investment decision that has been taken by this institution over the last 50 years?
No, LIC in this case.
See, at the end of the day, this question can be asked by the shareholders and at the AGM. But over here to just keep on butting inside and taking away the independence of an investment committee, at this rate you will make the investment. I mean, nobody is God. Everybody has been on the investment side. So first and foremost, I should have given a disclaimer. I don't own a single share of Adani Group companies, nor have I advised any of my clients. So I'm sorry, I should have given this disclaimer. But at the end of the day, having been in this industry for well over 30 years, this is wrong, and you will set a precedent which is going to be bad. At the end of the day, what happened in the case of many of the government agencies also, people were scared of taking, especially the bankers. They were afraid of taking, giving loans, because there was always this fear that some agency will come and question it. This is an investment decision. The investment committee can be asked this question, and the rightful people to ask this question can be the shareholders, or it can be asked in the AGM. But over here, if every decision is going to be questioned, you are going to create a situation wherein the investment managers in every institution or every mutual fund.
So this is not an argument, sir.
Will be handicapped.
Pushkar may want to respond. This is not an argument. You are trying to put roadblocks in my question. I feel, with the greatest of respect to you, that I am asking the right question. And let me tell you, Ashish, this is the kind of question I have asked for the last 12 years. This is the kind of question I asked Punjab National Bank. And I am very angry with the business channels and pink papers which are not asking these questions. I am very clear. These people, many media don't ask people questions because people are advertisers. I am bindas. How long do you know me, Ashish? I don't give a damn. Yeah. I'm going to ask this question. And I'm following it up by asking you about SBI. You've been with SBI in the past, so I know you're going to dodge my question. But SBI exposure to Adani is equivalent to the entire hike in the defense budget in 2023. A huge sum of 27,000 crores, which is the SBI's overall exposure to the Adani group. How can you dismiss it when this is exactly how much our India's defense budget has been hiked by in 23? And SBI already has a bad recovery rate of 13%. They have written off bad loans of over 145,000, 248 crores of big defaulters. And we here at Republic, and me personally, have been going around saying, please support good business, but stop this business of bad defaulters, big loans. Now my question here is, hasn't SBI already written off bad loans with huge discounts? Are discounts not given when bad loans are given? Is SBI in any position to claim that 21,000 crores is well within management when it had to part with its bad loans at a heavy discount of 70% to the loan outstanding to the defaulters, so whose money is lost? Please understand, I have done this all my life, Ashish. Now SBI tries to assure customers saying future loans to Adani will be given on merit. I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking about the past and its impact on the future. And these are straightforward things. If I don't ask them, I don't know how, who will, I don't know. I want Prakash to come, Pushkar to come in on this. This is not just a political debate, it's a serious debate. There are 44 SBI mutual funds worth 26,000 crores. They cannot be dismissed as no big deal.
Can I answer this, Arnab?
Sure you can. Pushkar wanted to have a go and then I'll come back to you. Yeah, Pushkar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So my take is, right now the big question is that what about the investors who are already invested in Adani group of companies? See, the valuation is so high, even the stock, Adani Enterprises has fallen like 60% down. After even falling 60%, the PE ratio still is over 200. Means if you want to earn 1 rupee, you have to pay 200 rupees right now, even after 60% fall. So I believe the stock is still overvalued. Now, if I talk about the technical analysis, the stock is in the downtrend now. Yeah. And I do not suggest any investor to stay invested in any company which is in the downtrend. See, if you talk about Yes Bank, Yes Bank was once at 400 rupees and it has fallen to 5 rupees. So there is no limit that stock can fall to any low and it can go to any high. So speculating is one thing. See, for a short term, the stock can again gain the momentum. But as of now, if I look at the whole picture, I don't feel like they are in the right position right now. And if you talk about the, see, this US-based research firm Hindenburg,
they are short sellers.
They have, you can say, published reports on. They are short sellers is one thing. See,
don't call them a research firm.
Short selling is one thing.
Don't call them a research firm.
Short selling is one thing.
Don't call them a research. They are Hindenburg short sellers. Don't call them a research firm. They are not a research firm. They are a group of short sellers, and they have not stated anything unique in their reports that is not public.
Even they are the short sellers, sir.
No. Tell me one thing in their reports which was not public. There's a headline. There's a lot of data, but I'm asking you one question. Tell me one thing, Satya, specific question. One thing in the Hindenburg report which was not public. 1 minute. Today, if you, Pushkar, go and get 100,000 pages about Ashish Wankarkar's company Equipoise Capital, and you give a headline to it. Ashish Wakankar is a con artist. Sorry, Ashish, don't mind. Ashish Wakankar is a con artist, right? And you put 100,000 pages of publicly available material. And in today's clickbaitish world, I will only read the headline. I won't go by the rest. And then you will call, I suppose I change your name. I don't call you Pushkar Raj Thakur. I call this PRJ Research or PRT Research Limited. And your company is therefore centered in Los Angeles or Cuba or somewhere in the West. Right? Then even before Ashish Wakankar wakes up in the morning as an opportunity to fight, you've been shorted. Tell me one thing, and this is another question we must ask, for all the people talking Hindenburg, good morning Hindenburg, good evening Hindenburg, Jairam Ramesh swears by Hindenburg. I want to know what is one thing in the Hindenburg report which was not public already. So it begs the question, was there an ulterior motive? Was there an ulterior motive?
So, sir, there is a very... what I feel like, see, if this research report was not on Adani, let's say it would be on Tata. So, what do you think? What would be the reaction of the Indian public to it? See, they would question Hindenburg straight away.
I am not saying you can't compare right now Tata and Adani, because Adani has got a lot of frightful debt and mess and unmanageable situations. I am saying who is the immediate benefactor, who is going to gain?
Sir.
Who is going to gain from this when Hindenburg cannot gain from Adani's route in the Indian market? They have shorted positions through US traded bonds and non-Indian traded derivative instruments.
Right.
Please be clear. So who's the beneficiary?
Right, sir. So short selling is definitely one thing that will benefit this research group or whatever you call it, the short sellers. But one thing is there, see, there are main substantial allegations to Adani.
No, you're missing, you're avoiding my question, sir. You go deep into this. Ashish, you're getting my point.
Sir.
Hindenburg has shorted positions through US traded bonds and non-Indian traded derivative instruments. So who is the beneficiary? Who is gaining from this? That's what I'm getting to, Ashish.
So they will definitely gain from this.
I would like to respond to that.
Okay. As Hindenburg is into the short selling, definitely there is an ulterior motive. There is a malafide intention. If you look at the past, there has been a lot of dozens of companies where they have allocated. It's just an allegation, just for the purpose of short selling. Even Nicola and the Genius brand, SE Walks, HF Foods, Smile Direct Club, Bloom Energy.
I ask another question. Ajay, you'll be shocked, Ajay Alok, at one thing I'm going to do. I'll tell you now. If anybody on my program can tell me the name of one of the 10 investors of Hindenburg. Ghanshyam, who every evening comes on my program and swears by Hindenburg, Mr. Tiwari, please tell me. Name one of the 10 investors of Hindenburg. Like, you should know who's... name one of the 10 investors of Hindenburg. Can you give me one of the names? Please don't avoid it. If you don't know, you tell me and then I'll tell you why you don't know.
Mauritius-based investors of Adani Group. Name one of the Mauritius-based investors of Adani Group. Just one. Arnab, you have covered this for 12 years. One major investor from Mauritius who's been named in Hindenburg. Who are the actual promoters of that group? And your question what was not in public domain, to your question, what was not in public domain, on the Republic website.
I will answer this better. Stop promoting my website.
Question number 3 was not in public domain. It says that the DSI investigation with respect to Vinod Adani, the question is where Adani's original statements about Vinod made to regulators false.
Okay,
this is with respect to their IPO. Is that in public domain?
No,
Ghanshyam. I think you can look at the question list. This is question number 3.
Ghanshyam, can I come with a common point, and I got to go to Ajay Alok. I know it's getting technical tonight, but viewers, we need to go into the technicality. See, Ajay, I'll tell you one thing. You'll be shocked. Maybe you should write about it, talk about it. Hindenburg is backed by around 10 investors, Ajay Alok, who are either individuals or financial institutions, I don't know. Their names have never been made public. Who are the very rich people with deep pockets who are bankrolling Hindenburg? You are telling the whole world, transparency. I am the new Julian Assange. But I want to know, Julian Assange, poor chap, is in jail, right? But who's backing Hindenburg? Do you know? Ajay Alok, do you know? Nobody knows. This whole country has been debating Hindenburg. Does Kamru Chaudhary know? Does Ghanshyam Tiwari know? I challenge you, nobody knows. Now go block Parliament. No, this is crazy.
Did LIC invest in Hindenburg?
The one who produced the BBC documentary.
Did LIC invest in Hindenburg? Was LIC the anchor?
The one who produced the BBC documentary.
Ajay Alok, come into the debate, man.
What are you talking about? What relevance does it have?
I'm the only person on this debate who knows what he's talking about.
Look, Arnab. Arnab, the one who produced the BBC documentary, is also one of the promoters of the Hindenburg, and these people know this very nicely, and they are with the plot. So there is no point discussing with them. Look at the timing. Look at the timing. See, there are 4 verticals to it. One is Adani and Hindenburg. One is Adani with LIC and SBI. Other vertical, which is the most important vertical, is Modi, and 4th vertical is Parliament. And naturally 24 elections. Nobody is concerned about Adani, nobody is concerned about Indian future, nobody is concerned about Indian economy. And we all know how robust Adani is, that he will bounce back. Today the shares value has already started bouncing back. Right, and whatever exposure he has in SBI and LIC, if they are really true Indians
in India,
and true subservients of Indian democracy and Indian people,
who permitted
questions in Parliament,
Adani to monopolize trade and businesses in India? First question. Second question. When Hindenburg Report
and LIC to dilute their position in Adani, he would have gladly done so. But Kamru will not do that. Kamru will not do that. They are not with the pace of this country. They worry with the acceleration of the pace. That what Adani, how Adani reached from 2 crores to 47,000 crores, nobody is talking for that. From 91 to 2014, but everybody is concerned that 47,000 crores.
That goes to the BRS and Ghanshyam.
How he reached to 134 billion.
Countering. Interesting debate.
No, they are not concerned about anything. They are
Ajay Alok on a roll tonight.
Mr. Adani is a success story for this country. Let me tell you, Mr. Adani is a success story of this country. And every businessman, every industrialist is the backbone of this country. And this is a sinister design just to malign India. There is no doubt about it.
We are equally worried about the country's economy.
3 days back.
Not Modi alone.
Adani took Israel port, bidding 7 times more than China. It was a hurt to them. Adani took Sri Lanka's port, bidding 3 times more than China. It was a hurt to them. So, and on 4 things, Mr. Reddy, listen to me. Mr. Reddy, listen to me. Give me 30 seconds, then you can speak. There were 4 things very coincidentally happening. Every time before a parliament session. Sometimes there is the Rafael, Chokidar Chora, before parliament session. Sometimes there is Pegasus.
Parliament is here to discuss all these issues.
Sometimes there is global times before parliament session. One issue at a time. This time, 4 issues together. 4 issues because of 24.
Not coming
4 issues, you know what? There was Ramcharitmanas by RJD and Samajwadi Party, Ghanshyam's party. There was Modi directly by BBC. Right?
BBC.
No. The third was
Arnab, give me 30 seconds.
And the 4th was Adani. All together, and the budget. It was directly aimed to hurt the country's economy.
Then Greta Thunberg, you forgot.
Image, to question about India's transparency, about
Wakankar wants to
share
come
system
in.
And share value system.
So because Bharat Jodo failed, you don't have to try this stunt.
Arnab, give me 30 seconds.
So you tell me how much has Adani invested in Telangana, sir?
Parliament session.
How much has Adani invested in Telangana? You were taking selfies with him yesterday. And today you are talking against him. You were leading the selfie brigade, Mr. Reddy.
I wanted to make it clear.
Yes, sir, please.
I wanted to make it clear. Give me 30 seconds uninterrupted. I already made it clear. We are not against any business group, number 1. Number 2, here Ajay or anybody, if they are confident, if they look at conspiracy here, why the government is not allowing a discussion in the parliament? We want an answer. When every bank, when every finance organization,
running the parliament, not letting the budget.
Why the clarity is not required?
To reach the common ordinary
Why
man.
do you shield him?
Ajay, not ready to discuss the budget because you know the common ordinary man is happy about the budget. So you don't want to run the parliament. Arey Adani to bahana hai. बजट निशाना है, पार्लियामेंट नहीं चलने देना है, देशवासी चलाना है.
Last 10 seconds, Ghanshyam.
Why the government is running away?
24 hours for Adani to return all the.
Ajay Alok and Ghanshyam.
They know it very well.
Versus each other after a long time this evening. Come on, Ajay.
Ghanshyam. Ramcharitmanas putting Shudra out of his office. What Ghanshyam will say? Let him discuss about Ramcharitmanas and his leader about Shudra.
In public perception,
They don't live,
in
they
public
won't talk
perception,
about Manusmriti, but they would like to call them Shudra. Look at the hypocrisy.
quickly.
Lifelong Mulayam Singh Yadav said that we are against
in public perception,
Akhilesh Yadav, we are
in
against
public perception, Adani is. In public perception, Modi ji is to Adani what RSS is to BJP, and that is the reason this nation must debate. The nation must seek answer, and a joint parliamentary committee probe should happen.
How the parliament should not run? How the
Ajay ji, just give me 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. Somebody has threatened that, you know what, that the group should file a suit in US. My question is, the group companies are registered in India. They do business in India. They're registered on NSE and BSE, which are highly regulated, and they're professional.
Louder, Ajay.
The stocks are liquid. The stocks are liquid over here. Why has the so-called investor and the so-called research house not gone?
And last point, Ghanshyam, I'll tell you. Ghanshyam, there are 10 secret...
Joint parliamentary committee probe, JPC probe must happen. This is important to the country. This is important to anyone who holds policies in LIC. This is anyone who has invested in SBI.
Okay, Ghanshyam, this man Anderson who runs Hindenburg. Ghanshyam, this man Anderson who runs Hindenburg,
I know that
he has 10 investors.
On these debates, I know BJP doesn't send spokesperson.
He has 10 investors with him, and viewers, do you know, these investors not only fund Hindenburg, they take their own short positions versus Hindenburg, which means if the short position works, they also make money. Now, how do I know that these are not some Chinese or people linked with the Chinese state? I don't know. That's the point. Ghanshyam.
Let the government clear it in the parliament now.
JPC probe will tell you the joint parliamentary committee probe would go into every link.
I want a JPC into the China Congresses deal with Jinping. I demand a JPC on that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, on the other side, the only channel asking the question that the country needs to ask, what is the China angle in all this? We connect the dots and there is an absolutely evident line of a China angle in this. That's what no channel is talking about, and I'll tell you more about it with deep research when I'm back. I'll take a call.